everybody. Welcome to Show and Tell, a live stream where the TBD shows and tells you about the latest, greatest open source project or concept at TBD, because we love being open about what we're working on. So during the show, whether you're on Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Discord, you can drop questions in the chat and we will answer them in the second half of our show. So I'm your host and moderator, Tania, and joining us as our speaker for today's Show and Tell is Mo. Feel free to do a quick intro for everybody.
Hey y'all, my name is Mo. I am an engineer on TBD.
Cool. So what are you showing and telling the audience about today?
Yeah, so we'll be walking through DAPs today, or Decentralized Agnostic Paytags. It is, I guess, a standard that I sort of randomly came up with after just recurringly experiencing these conversations when I needed to pay somebody, which effectively turned into tense negotiations of, well, what app do you use? What currency do you use? How can I pay you? And that seemingly being like increasingly full of friction and just frustrating. It's like, look, I know I owe you money. I need to pay you. Can we just do it?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, DAP's attempt to solve that, or try at least.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and start the show and tell portion.
Yeah, sure. So what I have up on my screen right now is the DAP spec. Again, DAP is short for Decentralized Agnostic Paytag. Yeah, so effectively, I mean, there's quite a bit here, but I'll just jump into the thick of it. So ultimately, the goal is to be able to, like, let's say, Tanya, I know that I need to pay you $5, right? So I should only have to know your pay tag and what I want to pay you, right? Whatever app I'm using should be able to take care of the rest. So if you shared your DAP with me, I should be able to type that in. That should resolve to a set of money addresses that effectively are where and how you can receive money. The application can then use those money addresses as needed to help me pay you, right? So effectively, DApps at their core are a handle that points to, let me make this bigger, a handle that actually points to a did. When that did is resolved, that did resolves to a did document, which is just a JSON object that has all of the money addresses that you have registered. So let's say that you're willing to receive, or you can receive, Bitcoin over Lightning, USDC, and let's say you can also accept payments via PixPay, right? There would be 3 money addresses in your did document. The application can then filter those down to whatever the application can actually send. So let's say that the application you're using is a PixPay wallet, or or it could be even more broad. It could be like a Venmo or a PayPal. Effectively, that app can choose whatever rail that it can send you money to based on what you can accept. And so the next step would be just typing in the amount of money that I need to pay you, and the job should be done from there. So yeah, I mean, DApps are pretty straightforward. Effectively, so I think it can be broken down into 2 different pieces. So you've got the handle, which is registered with a DAP registry. A DAP registry is represented as the domain. So if I were to register my handle at, say, the domain didpay.me, there's the specification goes into quite a bit of detail about how registration would work. So in this case, I would be bringing my own DID. So a DID whose keys that I am in full control of, and a DID whose document that I can update entirely myself. So effectively, I would leverage the protocol to register my DID with didpay.me and request that that DID be bound to the handle Moegrammer. Presumably, like assuming that no one has it, registration would work. And then I could hand out my DAP at Moegrammer/didpay.me to anybody. And if they're using something that could resolve the DAP, What they would end up with on the other side is all of the money addresses that I associated to my DID. Yeah, so I see in comments, someone said dap it up. So a little bit of context on the name. I actually came up with the acronym prior to the name itself because I wanted to think of a name that actually could be used in everyday language effectively, just like set like dap me was the goal. And then yeah, effectively the acronym or the letters of the acronym I had to think of like in reverse versus going the other way around. But to give you context on exactly what decentralized agnostic Paytag means, agnostic means it's not specific to any currency. Decentralized means anybody can run their own DAP registry. If you own your own domain, you could run your own. You could provide your registry to others if you want them to register. Or it is also set up for larger companies or institutions, should they be interested, to run their own registries. So effectively, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, if they wanted to provide all of their pre-existing users with dApps, they could do that. And then I could send around at Moegrammer slash cash.app with Cash App resolving my DAP to a DID, and that DID having a series of money addresses. Those money addresses could actually be provided by Cash App as well, or PayPal or Venmo. So in the case of Cash App, my money addresses would likely be like my cash tag and possibly a Bitcoin address. I feel like I've said a lot, so wondering if there's questions so far.
Yeah, no questions yet. I'm sure folks will ask as the stream continues, but I did notice Christian Gray said this could solve so many problems. Maybe you can talk a bit more on that as you have been.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, that's the hope, Christian. So, and like there are many other pay tag solutions out there. They're all typically specific to one currency. The goal of dApps is not really to compete with those other pay tag solutions, and it's also not supposed to be yet another standard. Um, dApps can support any kind of money address. So pre-existing standards or pay tags that people already have are can and will work with dApps. The primary motivation for dApps is like I want one single pay tag that I can hand anybody, and that can resolve to any other number of pay tags or addresses that can be used to actually pay someone. So yeah, that's effectively the hope behind dApps. Leo, I see Leo asking in chat what the difference between UMA and dApps are. Yeah, that's a great question. So I think, I mean, from my perspective, UMA is primarily Lightning based, right? They have this concept of VASPs. VASPs are effectively akin to DAP registries, and everything flows through the Lightning network. And the benefits that are gained from flowing through the Lightning network is the onion routing, right? There's quite a bit of privacy preservation in play there with respect to how your requests get routed to the respective or appropriate node. But again, yeah, it's primarily Lightning based. And the goal behind dApps was supposed to be or is to support any and every kind of money address, not just crypto specific payments. And if UMA could even support any type of currency, um, I guess running Lightning infrastructure can be intimidating to a company that has never considered Lightning or Bitcoin for that matter. If they are just interested in fiat payments, that might be enough to say, look, UMA is like not feasible for me. dApps attempt to stay primarily using web technology and with the goal of keeping it as simple as possible to implement both a registry or a client SDK.
Cool. I see another follow-up question from Leo as well. If I have a UMA tag, can I pay a DAP tag or a DAP tag?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So you can, if you have a UMA, a universal money address already, you can actually include your UMA as a money address in the DID that your DAP resolves to, and then you could send that DAP around. Now, to answer your question concretely, if there is an app that supports DApps and UMA, absolutely. Yeah. So if you're attempting to pay somebody or if you handed out your DAP, to someone who is using a UMA enabled app and your DAP happened to have a UMA, they could absolutely pay your UMA via resolving the DAP.
Cool. Okay, I think that's all the questions for now, but I'm sure they'll come in throughout.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess to jump into the money address piece, so money addresses follow this general format. So it's effectively money addresses are by definition a URN. So they are RFC conformant URNs, and they follow the general pattern of URN colon the currency and then what's called a currency specific part. So this effectively is designed to allow all of the flexibility needed to support any type of money address. So there's a bunch of examples here. For example, USDC on Ethereum would be represented as URN colon USDC, which is the currency on the Ethereum blockchain, and this is your address. And then you've got Bitcoin on-chain addresses, which would look like this: URN colon Bitcoin colon just a raw address, and then the address itself. Obviously, on the Bitcoin side, you probably don't want to share the same static address over and over again. So there's also support for silent payment addresses, which is effectively a way to share an address without it having the downsides of sharing a static address. I won't go into the details there right now. So yeah, effectively, but the point here being is that so long as you can express a money address in this form, dApps can support whatever kind of money address the community may be interested in. I see another question in chat. How can organizations set up their own DApp registry? Yeah, great question. So the simplest way to set up a DApp registry, I'll show you an example right now. So this link, DApp registry static, it's an open source repo. This DApp registry is actually hosted on GitHub. Like this repo is the registry. In this registry directory, you have registered dApps. And what I've done is I've simply just pointed a custom domain at the GitHub pages for this repo, and it acts as a full-blown DApp registry. So for example, if I were to open this tab and go to didpay.me/Moegrammer/did.json, this resolves to my my did that has a lightning address associated to it. And that's actually being served up from right here. That's the easiest way to run a DApp registry. Obviously, there's quite a bit of downsides to leveraging a static GitHub repo as a registry. But in terms of easily getting started, yeah, this is probably the easiest way to do it. We also have pre-built DApp registries that you could effectively just clone and run. We have one written in JavaScript. This was written by someone else on TBD, Frank, which is a bit limited on documentation at the moment, but the idea would be clone it, run it locally, and then you can also deploy it into a Kubernetes cluster. We have Helm charts available in the repo as well that you could leverage to run it as an organization. And of course, if you're interested, we've also started working on SDKs in a number of languages if you wanted to build or handle your own DApp registry. Cool. What else would be worth talking through? Let's see. Yeah, so I guess now that we've answered this question live, how are dApps different than UMA? I guess I can go ahead and fill out this to do after the show and tell. Yeah, would be curious to hear any more questions if people have them.
Yes, feel free to ask any questions you may have. This is really cool. And this was something that took about like a week within our internal hackathon to uh, cook up initially too. It's awesome to see how far it's come.
Yeah, it's been great. Also, huge shout out to the folks on the Cash App side that worked on the spec and what we did for Hack Week alongside me. They're up on the screen right now under contributors, Andrew Parker, Chris Myers, Jeremy Mawson, and then Frank as well on the TBD side.
Awesome.
Christian, there is not a DApp wrap at the moment, but if you have ideas, submit an issue to the GitHub repo.
That'd be amazing. I didn't think to have a DAP wrap, but that'd be awesome. Tom also said very interesting. Cool.
Cool, yeah. I suppose another thing to mention now, because you mentioned the Hack Week, Tanya, we recently got done with a Hack Week where we prototyped using dApps to send money from DidPay, which is an open source reference implementation wallet that TBD is working on. So we dApped from DidPay to Cash App and then from Cash App to BitKey. And like you were mentioning, Tanya, it took us a week to get that up and running. And yeah, I mean, it worked great. Um, I wish I had a video ready to show what we had done. Maybe we'll have that ready for next time.
Yeah. I see folks are typing as well. But in the meantime, what would you say was the like at the start of Hack Week, for example, what was like the initial driver for cooking this up? Oh, my light fell.
Yeah, so I think I mean a few people had come across decentralized agnostic Paytag repo and saw, or I felt like it was pretty interesting. And then yeah, I guess the concept of being able to send money cross app, cross border is a pretty compelling idea. So we were very curious about what the user experience would actually end up looking like. And since it was Hack Week, we kind of figured we might as well give it a shot. It would be awesome if there was a singular pay tag that I could send to anybody, and I wouldn't have to argue with someone to download Cash App instead of Venmo or PayPal or some Bitcoin wallet or something like that.
Yeah. I see question from Rizal. If people are interested in contributing, what types of problems are you looking to resolve or wrap up?
Yeah, so if you head over to the DAP repo, the spec repo, there are open issues at the moment with discussions that are happening. There's also three PRs open at the moment. Currently, we're discussing the actual format of DApps itself. Hopefully, it's not bike shedding. I mean, it is a long thread. So yeah, if you want to contribute or participate, looking at the DAP spec repo is definitely the right place to go.
Cool. I see another question from Discord. This is very cool. Is Cash App planning on incorporating the ability to use this, i.e., pay people with tags outside of the app?
Yeah, so there's definitely quite a bit of excitement on the Cash App side coming out of Hack Week since we actually proved out that this could work with real money. And so, yeah, I mean, now that we're done with the Hack Week, we're in the midst of discussing next steps. So technically TBD, but yeah, I guess we'll see.
We'll see. That'll be cool. But I definitely got really excited about this during Hack Week. I remember seeing all the different projects going on across Block, TBD, everyone working together, and this was really awesome. I wish that we could show the video that we had cooked up at the time to really talk about it. But this show and tell is very, um, just very awesome, very useful, very insightful as well.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not sure anybody wants to hear me sit here and read through the spec verbatim. So, um, yeah, if I guess there aren't any other questions, maybe we could call it a wrap.
Yeah,
Or yeah, I don't think I can cook up enough of the video that we had recorded to show live.
yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty much all I've got.
Cool. I mean, well, thank you so much for taking the time to go over DAP with everybody. And also, as you'll see at the bottom of your screen, you can go ahead and check out the repo. We also have within our Discord a DAP channel where you can ask your questions or submit comments about the project there, and our staff will be able to directly answer you. So, yeah. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the show. And if you did miss out on the beginning of the show, you can tune in on our YouTube channel right after this, where the stream VOD will be immediately available. So take care, everybody. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
one last question. Can we collaborate on future show and tells? I have a few thoughts, topics to share. Yeah. Definitely you can get in touch with our partnerships team. But specifically for show and tells, you can join our Discord and ask over there, and we will get you sorted that way. So, yeah. All right. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.